Yes. Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Himmat Singh, School of Pharmacy, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. In Physical Pharmaceutics second, today we have to learn about the course dispersions. And in this course dispersion unit, we have to discuss about the suspensions. In previous lecture, we discussed about the suspensions, introductions, definition of suspensions, classification of suspensions, and then in today's lecture we have to discuss about the formulation of suspensions in detail. So the learning objectives of today's lectures are to know about the formulation approaches of suspensions, formulation ingredients for the preparation of suspensions with suitable examples, then packaging of suspensions and storage requirement and labeling of suspension dosage form. So these are the learning objectives of today's lecture. And the students will be able to know about the formulation approaches for suspensions, formulation ingredients for preparation of suspension with suitable examples, packaging of suspensions, and then storage requirement and labeling of suspensions after completion of today's lecture. Now, when we go through the formulation of suspensions, so first of all, as we know, suspensions are biphasic liquid dosage forms, where the solid particles constitute the dispersed phase and the dispersed phase is distributed throughout the continuous medium. Continuous medium may be aqueous solvent or maybe non-aqueous or oily solvent. So based on the composition, there are the different formulation approaches for the formulation of suspension dosage form. In previous lecture, we discussed about the examples of marketed suspensions which are available for the different applications like the pediatric usage or adult preparations, etc. So in formulation of suspensions, it depends on the whether the suspension is flocculated or deflocculated. So in previous lecture, we studied about the what is the difference between flocculated suspension and what is deflocculated suspension. In flocculated suspension, the suspension is made of flocks, and flocks are the loose aggregation of surfactant particles or maybe solid particles. So flocks are aggregation of the particles which are bonded with the weak physical force like van der Waals force. And in deflocculated suspension where there is no aggregation of particles can be seen, there may be the formation of cake may be done. So formulation approach or formulation method for a particular suspension depends on the type of suspension, whether it is made by flocculated suspension or maybe deflocculated suspension. So there are three common approach which is involved in the formulation of suspensions, like use of structured vehicle. Second one is the use of controlled flocculation. And third one is the combination of both of the structured vehicle as well as the controlled flocculation. So there are three commonly used approaches regarding the formulation of suspensions. Now, when we go through the flow chart of formulation of suspension, this is the very simple flow chart which is capable to show the formulation part, how it is formulated. So first there is the finally divided particles. So with the finally divided particles means when the particles are micronized, where the particle size is reduced, particle size reduction is done. So there may be the finally divided solid particles. Particle size if reduced, then there will be the increase in the surface area, and I already told you in previous class also that the surface area will increase automatically dissolution, absorption, solubility, and ultimately bioavailability can be enhanced. So finally divided particles, then particles are added to the dispersion medium, then wetting agent is added. Wetting agent is the surface active agent which having the HLP value, hydrophilic, lipophilic balance value between the 7 to 9 as per the Griffin scale. So wetting agent, the surfactant should be added. Then there will be the formation of deflocculated suspension. Then it can be divided into three parts, like the addition of structured vehicle, so that the deflocculated suspension is external vehicle. When the flocculating agents are added, then there will be the flocculated suspension can be formulated. And if the flocculating agents are added, then addition of external liquid vehicle, then there will be the flocculated suspension in external liquid vehicle. So this is the flow chart of formulation of suspension. Now, first one is the approach which is based on the use of structured vehicle. Let us see what is structured vehicle. So, structured vehicle is also called as thickening agent or suspending agent. They are hydrocolloids or high molecular weight substances. They are aqueous solutions of natural as well as synthetic gums. What is the role of structured vehicle in the formulation of suspension? These are used to increase the viscosity of the suspension. So they are also known as viscosity imparting agent or viscosity enhancing agents. Then it is applicable only to deflocculated suspension, like the examples here given: methyl cellulose, sodium carboxy methyl cellulose. So both of the cellulose derivatives, semi-synthetic derivatives of cellulose, like methyl cellulose or sodium carboxy methyl cellulose. Then natural gums like acacia, then gelatin and radakan. So these structured vehicle entrap the particles and reduce the sedimentation of particles. So by the entrapment of the particles, they can reduce the rate of sedimentation. They can hold the particles for the maximum time by increasing the viscosity of the suspension. So thus the use of deflocculated particles in a structured vehicle may form solid hard cake for long storage. So it must be considered when we are using this type of structured vehicle. Too high viscosity is not desirable. Why? Because it causes difficulty in pouring and administration of suspension dosage form. Then it may affect the drug absorption since they adsorb on the surface of particle and suppress the dissolution rate. So very high viscosity is not desirable in the suspension dosage form because it may be arise the problems regarding the pouring or transferring the suspension from one container to another container. It may also cause the administration problem. It may affect the drug absorption because adsorb viscosity imparting agent, they are adsorbed on the surface of the particle and they can decrease the dissolution rate also. Structured vehicle is not useful for the parenteral suspension because they may create problems in syringeability due to high viscosity. Syringeability means when we administer the formulation through the syringe by intramuscular or intravenous route through the parenteral route, there may be the if the viscosity is very high, then it will be again a problem. Now in controlled flocculation, so what is controlled flocculation, how it is obtained, and what is the benefits of this controlled flocculation? Flocculation, as you know, is the formation of flocks. And flocks are the aggregate of suspended particles. They are bonded with the weak physical force like van der Waals force. So controlled flocculation of particles is obtained by adding flocculating agent, and the flocculating agent may be like the electrolytes, maybe surface active agents or surfactants or amplifiers, or maybe different type of polymers. So by the use of electrolytes, by the use of surface active agents, by the use of polymers, we can obtain the controlled flocculation. Now, flocculation in structured vehicle. Sometimes suspending agents can be added to flocculated suspension to retard the sedimentation. So as we discussed in previous lecture regarding the suspension part 1, what is the velocity of sedimentation? Velocity of sedimentation is better explained by the Stokes law. And on the basis of Stokes law, we can say that there are so many factors which affect the rate of sedimentation. So similarly, the suspending agent can be added to the flocculated suspension, which can reduce the rate of settling, which can decrease the velocity of sedimentation. Examples of these type of agents are CMC, carboxymethyl cellulose, carbachol 934, Vigum, and bentonite. So these are the different suspending agents which can be added to flocculated suspension for the decrement in the rate of sedimentation. So flocculation in structured vehicle. After the flocculation of structured vehicle, we have to discuss about the ingredients for formulation of suspension. So when we go through the formulation of suspensions, there are three approaches: by the use of structured vehicle, by the use of controlled flocculation, or by the combination of both of the controlled flocculation as well as the structured vehicle. We can formulate the different types of suspensions. Now, in regarding the manufacturing or formulation of suspension, there are so many ingredients which can be useful or which can be widely used to prepare or to formulate different type of suspensions. So first of all, we have to check that our ingredient or formulating agents or excipients are compatible with the drug or APA, active pharmaceutical ingredient. So after the compatibility study, we have to carefully select the excipients or non-drug components. These are the different examples of formulating agents or ingredients which are widely used in the formulation of suspensions. Like the wetting agents are the surface active agent or surfactants. They are added to disperse solid in continuous liquid phase. The next one is the flocculating agents. They are added to flow the drug particles. So by the help of flocculating agent, we can add the flocculating agent to formate the flocks in the suspended dispersion system. Then thickeners, they are added to increase the viscosity of suspension. They are also known as viscosity imparting agent. And buffers and pH adjusting agents, they are added to stabilize the suspension for the to obtain the desired pH range. Next one is the osmotic agents. They are added to adjust osmotic pressure comparable to the biological fluid. When there are the osmotic pressure is equal, then there will be the isoosmolar solution or suspension can be formulated. Then coloring agent, they are added to impart desired color to the suspension and improve the elegance of our preparation. So coloring agent, sweetening agent, flavoring agent, both are commonly known as organoleptic agents. Then preservatives, so they are added to prevent the microbial growth. They can enhance the stability of our suspension. Then external liquid vehicle, so they are added to construct structure of the final suspension. So these are the different commonly used formulating ingredients which are widely useful in the formulation of suspension. Now let us see some of the important ingredients in detail with suitable examples. So first one is the suspending agent. Suspending agent is very useful in formulation of suspension. As I discussed, it reduce the or retard the rate of sedimentation or velocity of sedimentation by increasing the viscosity or by thickening the suspension consistency. So suspending agents are also known as hydrophilic colloids, which form colloidal dispersion with the water and increase the viscosity of the continuous phase. So suspending agent on the film around the particle and decrease the interparticle attraction. Most suspending agent perform two functions. Like beside acting as a suspending agent, they also impart viscosity to the solution. So is they are viscosity imparting agent, so they are also known as viscosity enhancers or suspending agents or wetting agents also. Preferred suspending agents are those that give the thixotropy to the media. And thixotropy, it is the isothermal and comparatively slow recovery from gel to sol, sol to gel. So many of these substances, many of the suspension systems which showing the thixotropy are very useful in our pharmaceutical preparations. The preferred suspending agents which are related with this function, they are xanthan gum, carrageenan, sodium carboxymethyl cellulose, methyl cellulose mixtures, Avicel RC591, Avicel RC581, and Avicel CL611. These are the trade name or brand name of different suspending agents. Then when we go through the stability, pH range, and concentrations of most commonly used suspending agent. So you can see different suspending agent with their stability pH range and then the concentrations used as suspending agent. So like these are the different example of suspending agent like sodium alginate, the stability pH range is 4 to 10. The concentration used as suspending agent is 1 to 5%. Then methyl cellulose, the stability pH range is 3 to 11. And the concentration used as suspending agent is 1 to 2%. Hydroxy ethyl cellulose HEC, this is the cellulose derivatives. The stability pH range for this suspending agent is 2 to 12 and the concentration used is 1 to 2%. Next one is the hydroxypropyl cellulose. The stability pH range for this is 6 to 8 and the suspending agent's concentration is 1 to 2% required. Next one is the hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose HPMC. It is widely used suspending agent not only in the pharmaceutical laboratory but in our pharmaceutical industry also. The stability pH range is 3 to 11 and the concentration used as suspending agent is again 1 to 2%. The next one is the CMC, carboxymethyl cellulose. The stability pH range is 7 to 9, and the concentration used as suspending agent is 1 to 2%. Colloidal silicon dioxide, the stability pH range is 0 to 7.5, and the concentration is 2 to 4% weight by volume can be used as a suspending agent. So these are the different stability pH range and concentrations of most commonly used suspending agents. Then list of suspending agent. These are the different suspending agents are given in this slide. You can see here alginates, methyl cellulose, hydroxyethyl cellulose, carboxymethyl cellulose, then sodium CMC or sodium carboxymethyl cellulose, microcrystalline cellulose, which is known as MCC in short. Then natural gum like acacia, yagacan, xanthan gum, bentonite, carbomyl, carrageenan, powdered cellulose, and gelatin, etc. Now let us say one by one in detail. So alginate salts have about some same suspending action to that of the Ragacan gum. Alginate solution loses its viscosity when heated about 60 degrees centigrade due to polymerization reaction. You can see the diagram of alginate granules, which is also useful as a suspending agent for the suspension preparation. The maximum viscosity is observed at a pH range of 5 to 9 of alginate. Chemically, alginates are polymers composed of urinic acid and glucuronic acid monomers. In practice, alginate is used as concentration less than 10% weight by volume, particularly at 5% weight by weight. So in this region, the sodium alginate or alginate can be used as a suspending agent. The next important suspending agent, this is the methyl cellulose. Methyl cellulose is available in different or several viscosity grades. The difference in viscosity is due to the difference in methylation and polymer chain length. Methyl cellulose is more soluble in cold water than the cold water. Stability point of view, methyl cellulose is stable at pH of range of 3 to 11. When methyl cellulose on heating it will convert into the gel form, and on cooling it will convert into the solution form. So you can see the diagram of methyl cellulose powder. Next one is the hydroxyethyl cellulose. It is again a cellulose derivative which is a semi-synthetic derivative of cellulose. It is another good suspending agent having somewhat similar characteristics to methyl cellulose. In hydroxyethyl cellulose, hydroxyethyl group is attached to the cellulose chain. Unlike MC or methyl cellulose, HEC, hydroxyethyl cellulose, is soluble in both hot and cold water but do not form gel on heating. You can see the diagram of the hydroxyethyl cellulose. Then CMC, carboxymethyl cellulose. Carboxymethyl cellulose is available in different viscosity grades depending on the different viscosity. Low, medium, and high viscosity grades are commercially available in the market. In case of HVCMC, the viscosity significantly decreases when temperature rises to 40 degrees centigrade from 25 degrees centigrade. So, to improve the viscosity and stability of suspension, MVCMC is widely accepted. This high viscosity range and moderately viscosity range of CMC is accepted here. Then microcrystalline cellulose MCC, which is the trade name having AVCell. So AVCell, it is not soluble in water. It is readily disperses in water to give thixotropic gels. It is used in combination with sodium methyl cellulose or hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose HPMC because they facilitate dispersion of microcrystalline cellulose or it is also known as AVCell. The advantage of this AVCell or microcrystalline cellulose, so alginate complex compositions are they provide excellent stability. Formulation of dry powder suspensions with microcrystalline cellulose. Alginate complexes produce an excellent dry, readily hydratable and dispersible formulation for reconstitution. And due to its increase or better stability when compared with the simple suspension, it is widely used for pediatric preparation containing the antibiotic drugs. When we go through the wetting agents, this is also very helpful to solubilize the solid particles in the dispersion medium. Generally, they are surface active agents or amphiphile in nature. Hydrophilic materials are easily wetted by the water, while hydrophobic materials are not. So we have to use the wetting agent for, especially for the hydrophobic materials which are not easily wetted by the water. So, however, hydrophobic materials are easily wetted by the non-polar liquid. So, the extent of wetting by water is dependent on the hydrophilicity of the material. If the material is more hydrophilic, then less difficulty in wetting by the water. Wetting capability can be determined with the contact angle. The concentrations used is less than 0.5%. Next formulating agent is the surfactant. Surfactant or surface active agents decrease the interfacial tension between the drug particles and liquid. So liquid is penetrated in the pores of drug particles, displacing air from them and thus ensures the wetting. So they are also helpful as wetting agents. They facilitate the wetting process for the hydrophobic materials also. Generally, we use the non-ionic surfactants, but ionic surfactant can also be useful depending upon the certain conditions. Polysorbate 80 is most widely used due to the following advantages. Why polysorbate 80 is useful? Like because of the it is non-toxic in nature, so no change in pH of the medium can be seen. Then no toxicity, so safe for the internal use. So these are the advantages of polysorbate 80, which are the polyoxyethylene sorbate fatty acid esters, type of non-ionic surfactant. Then next is the hydrophilic colloids. Hydrophilic colloids hold hydrophobic drug particles in one or more than one layer. This will provide hydrophilicity to drug particles and facilitate the wetting phenomena. They cause deflocculation of suspensions because force of attraction is declined like the acacia, gum-tragacan, alginates, guar gum, etc. Then the very important ingredient is the solvent in formulation of suspension. So the most commonly used solvent like the alcohol, glycerin, polyethylene glycol, and polypropylene glycol, etc. So the mechanism by which they provide wetting is that they are miscible with water and reduce the liquid air interfacial tension. By reducing the liquid air interfacial tension, they can facilitate the water solubility. Then liquid penetrates in individual particle and facilitates the wetting mechanism. Next one is the very important ingredient is the buffers. Buffers are the material which when dissolved in a solvent will resist any change in pH with acid or alkaline substances added. So the buffers are the substances which resist the pH variation or pH change, which they can maintain the pH of the preparation. To encounter stability problems, all liquid formulations should be formulated to an optimum pH. And for maintaining the pH or optimum pH, we require the buffer solutions. Rheology, viscosity, and other properties are also dependent on the pH of the system. So pH should be always maintained, and there will be the resisting change in pH can be done by the use of buffering agents. Generally, pH of suspension preferably at the 7.4 to 8.4. Most commonly used buffers are the salts of weak acid, and like the carbonate is the carbonates, citrates, gluconates, phosphates, and tartrates. So buffers are the weak acid and its salt with the strong bases, or like the different examples of buffers are given like carbonate, citrate, gluconate, phosphate, and tartrate buffers. Next one is the osmotic agent. They are added to produce the osmotic pressure comparable to the biological fluid. The suspension is to be intended for the ophthalmic or injectable preparation. So when we are formulating the suspension for the ophthalmic purpose or for the parenteral preparation, we have to use the osmotic agent and they produce the osmotic pressure similar to the our biological fluid. Maintain the isoosmolarity. Most commonly used osmotic agents are dextrose, mannitol, sorbitol, sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, glycerol, etc. These are widely used osmotic agents for our suspensions. Next one is the preservatives. So Preservatives, they are also known as stabilizers. They are also known as stability enhancing agent. So different chemicals are available to preserve, to stabilize our suspension, like the natural occurring suspending agents such as gum tragacan, gum acacia, xanthan gums are susceptible to the microbial contamination. So what will be the effect of this microbial contamination? This will lead to loss in the suspending activity of suspending agent, loss of color, loss of flavor, and odor also, change in the elegance of our suspension. So we have to use the external chemicals in terms of the preservatives. They can preserve, they can stabilize our suspension. Some of the commonly used preservative with the concentration range given in this PPT. You can see here the example of preservatives are like propylene glycol. Concentration range is the 5 to 10% can be used. Next one is the disodium ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid (EDTA). Disodium EDTA can be used in the concentration of 0.1%. Benzalkonium chloride can be useful in the concentration range of 0.01 to 0.02% because it is toxic in nature, so very less concentration is required. Then benzoic acid, the concentration range of 0.1% can be used. Then butyl, parabene, para-hydroxybenzoic acids are known as parabens. Parabens are very commonly used preservatives. So, butyl parabene in the range of 0.006 to 0.05% for oral suspension, and for topical formulation it is 0.02 to 0.4%. The flavoring and coloring agent. So coloring agent, flavoring agent, sweetening agent, commonly known as organoleptic agent. They are added to increase the patient acceptance. Only sweetening agents are not capable of complete taste masking of the unpleasant drugs. So we have to use the flavoring agents. We have to incorporate the flavoring agents and coloring agents in our formulation. Examples like the acacia, ginger, sarsaparilla syrup, NSA oil, glucose. It can be useful as spearmint oil, benzaldehyde, glycerin, neem oil. So these are the different examples of flavoring agent, coloring agent, which is widely useful in the suspension. In coloring agent, colors are obtained from the natural or synthetic sources. They may be plant colors. So plant colors are most widely used for oral suspension. The synthetic dyes should be used within the range of 0.0005% to 0.001%. Colors aids in identification of the product also. The color used should be acceptably by the particular country. So for the identification purpose, for masking the different color of the preparation, or they can also increase the elegance or patient acceptance in the suspension dosage forms. Most widely used colors are as follows, like brilliant blue, which is blue in color, indigo carmine, which is blue in color, amaranth dye, which is red in color, tartrazine, which is yellow in color, anthocyanins, which is yellow to orange in color. So these are the most widely used colors in our suspension dosage form. Next one is the sweetening agent. So they are used for the taste masking purpose for bitter drug particles. Bulk sweeteners are sugars such as xylose, ribose, ribose, glucose, mannose, etc. Sugar alcohols such as sorbitol, xylitol, mannitol, etc. The bulk sweeteners is used at the concentration of 15 to 70% in formulation. Then we have to use nowadays artificial sweetening agent. Examples of artificial sweetening agents are sodium cyclamate, sodium saccharin, aspartame, which are many times more sweeter than the sugar or sucrose, but they are carefully used because they are related with the some of the toxic problems. The humectant absorb moisture and prevent the degradation of API by moisture. Examples of humectants most commonly used in suspensions are propylene glycol, glycerol, etc. The total quantity of humectant should be between the 0.10% weight by weight. Then next one is the antioxidants. Antioxidants are very useful in as stabilizing agent. They are also categorized as stabilizers, which can be helpful to increase the stability of our suspension dosage form. Commonly used as antioxidants are like ascorbic acid derivatives such as ascorbic acid, erythrobic acid, etc. Then thiol derivatives such as thioglycerol, cytosine, acetylcysteine, then tocopherols, butylated hydroxyanisole, butylated hydroxytoluene, BHT, sodium bisulfite, sodium sulfate acetone. So these are the antioxidants which prevent the oxidation and ultimately increase the stability of our suspension. The commonly used antioxidants are given in the slides. Either it may be BHA, BHT, tocopherols, or maybe ascorbic acid derivatives. Then, after the formulation ingredients, we have to discuss about the preparation of manufacturing of suspension, how the suspensions are prepared. So, manufacturing methods are following considerations are important for manufacturing pharmacists. Like the first one is the selection of right material that go into the manufacture. Then the steps involved in their sequence in the manufacturing, and then preservation and storage of the product. So these are the important steps which should be considered before starting the manufacturing of suspension. So first one we have to see about the small scale preparation of suspension. So in step one, suspensions are prepared by grinding or levigating or smoothing the insoluble materials in the mortar to a smooth paste with a vehicle containing the wetting agent. So first we have to mix the wetting agent, vehicle, the solvent in our dry solid powder. All soluble ingredients are dissolved in the same portion of the vehicle and then added to the smooth paste to step 1 to get slurry. In the next step, the slurry is transferred to a graduated cylinder. The motor is raised with successive portion of the vehicle. The next step, to decide whether the solids are suspended in a structured vehicle or flocculated suspension or flocculated and then suspended. So add the vehicle containing the suspending agent or flocculating agent. Next step, make up the dispersion to the final volume. So we have to thus we can prepare our suspension by 5-step process. Now after the formulation and manufacturing of suspensions. The last part is the packaging of suspension, how the suspension can be packed. So, pharmaceutical suspensions for oral use are generally packed in wide mouth container having adequate space above the liquid to ensure the proper mixing. Because suspension always contain the direction shake well before use. So, as the time increases, the suspended particles will contain or will collect at the bottom of the container. So when we provide the moderate or gentle shaking, it will again be dispersed and drug can be distributed throughout the dispersion medium and it can homogeneously distribute after shaking. Parenteral suspensions are packed in either glass ampoules or vials, which can be helpful for the intramuscular as well as for the intravenous injections. So ideal requirement for packaging material. So the common features or ideal requirements of packaging materials are like it should be inert in nature, There should be no reaction between the drug and excipients with the packaging material. It should effectively preserve the protect oil product from the light, air, and other contamination throughout the shelf life. It should be cheap. It should effectively deliver the product without any difficulty. Then materials used for packaging. So generally, glass and various grades of plastics are used in the packaging of suspensions. The glass materials, generally like soda like glass and borosilicate glass, are used in the preparation of non-sterile suspensions. Amber glass doesn't allow UV light to pass through, so amber characteristics can be developed in the glass by addition of various type of additives. And it can be widely used in ophthalmic type of suspension or eye preparations. Type of glass in additive giving amber color is given in this table, like the soda lime glass. And what are the additive required? Like iron oxide, FeO plus sulfur in presence of reducing agent. When we are using the borosilicate glass, then we have to use the iron oxide with the titanium oxide. Disadvantages of glass material: they are fragile in nature, they can easily break, so it should be carefully used. They are very heavy as compared to the plastic, so handling and transport is also difficult for these glass materials. Most important disadvantage of glass that glass constituents get extracted into the product and there may be the formation of adverse product or undesirable product due to the interaction between the glass and product constituent. So we have to use the another type of packaging material which is plastic. So due to the negative aspects of glass, plastic materials significantly use of in the packaging material for sterile as well as the non-sterile pharmaceutical suspensions. You can see the diagram of different plastic containers for the pharmaceutical suspensions. The advantages of plastic material: they are non-breakable, they are in the lightweight, they are more flexible. So flexibility, lightweight, and non-breakability is the advantage of plastic material. The material which are used like the polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, polycarbonate, low density polyethylene substance, they are widely used in the packaging of pharmaceutical suspensions. Next one is the closures and liners. So with an exception of ampoules, all containers require the elastomeric closure. You can see the diagram of closures and liners in this PPT. So factors affecting select closure like compatibility with the product, seal integrity, and it should be stable throughout the shelf life of suspension. So factors affecting in selecting liner like chemical resistance, appearance, gas and vapor transmission, removal, torque, heat resistance, shelf life, and other economical factors. So these factors should be considered when we are select the closure and liners for packaging of suspension. Then last one is the storage requirement and labeling. So after packaging, what are the storage requirement and labeling for the suspension dosage form? So labeling required, the like direction should be must be given at the suspension container, like shake well before you, because if you are not shaking the preparation at the time of application, only the solvent or vehicle can be delivered to the patient and the drug may remain at the bottom of the container. And when we provide the gentle shaking before application or before use of the suspension, it will again be dispersed and patient can get drug with excipient as required. Then do not freeze. The next level condition required: protect from the direct light or light sensitive drugs. In case of dry suspension powder, the specified amount of vehicle to be mixed may be indicated clearly on the label. So these are the different requirements regarding the storage and labeling. You can see the diagram of the label here. So shake weight before use is given. Then the ingredients are written on the label. You can see the batch number, you can see the expiry date, etc. Storage. Suspension should be stored in cool place but should not be kept in the refrigerator. Freezing at very low temperature should be avoided, which may lead to aggregation of the suspended particles. There may be cake formation and they will unstabilize our preparation. It should be stored at controlled temperature from 20 to 25 degree centigrade. So these are the storage conditions required for pharmaceutical suspensions. So these are the references regarding our today's lecture. So please go through these references and find out more detailed material regarding the today's class. So when we summarize our today's lecture, we discussed about the what is the formulation, what are the formulation approaches regarding the pharmaceutical suspension. Either it may be based on use of structured vehicle, maybe controlled formulation or combination of the both approach. Then we discussed about the formulation ingredients in very detail with suitable examples. Yeah. Lastly, we discussed about the packaging of pharmaceutical suspension with the preparation method. So these are all about the suspension topic. Now this is the time for the quiz section. These are the some of the questions which are based on today's study. So question number one, the function of suspending agent is the decrease the rate of sedimentation, B is the increase the rate of sedimentation, C is the not affect the rate of sedimentation, and D is the double the rate of sedimentation. So as we discussed in our today's class, what is the function of suspending agent? Take the correct answer. In case of suspension, size of particles is between 0.1 to 1 millimeter, between 2 to 1000 nanometer. C option is the larger than 1000 nanometer, D is the lesser than 1000 nanometer. Question number 3. Which of the following parameter is used to generally compare different suspensions? So A option is physical evolution, B is the sedimentation volume, C is the friability, and D is the gelling strength. So we have to select optimal following parameter which is used to generally different compare the different such type of suspensions. Next one is the which one of the following is a flocculating agent for a negatively charged drug? A is aluminum chloride, B is bentonite, C is tragacan, and D is sodium biphosphate. Is the correct option for this question. Next one is the suspension is formed from uniform particles of solid of diameter 10 millimeter suspended in a solvent. What is the best description of this system? Okay. A is the monodisperse and coarse type of system. B is the monodisperse and colloidal. C is the polydisperse and coarse. And D is the polydisperse and colloidal. So based on the particle size, we can classify the different dispersion system in the range of coarse dispersion or colloidal dispersion. If the particles are uniformly distributed, they can form the monodisperse system. Next one is the Stokes law is related to A is syrup, B is suspension, C is solution, and D is emulsion. So take the correct option for the Stokes law. Next question is wetting agent is added in suspension when suspended particles are A is hydrophobic in nature, B is hydrophilic, C is water soluble, and D is a less interfacial interaction. So pick the correct option for this wetting agent. Next question is sedimentation volume of ideal suspension should be A less than 1, B more than 1, C equal to 1, and D is 0. Next question is practice an ideal suspension should have particles. A option is non-dispersible, B is dispersible, C is form cake, D should not sit. So these are the different questions for today's quiz section. So please go through these questions and find out the correct answer. Okay.